Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you are notified when new videos drop. And boy, they're dropping like flies, baby. They are dropping like flies. This video I wasn't intending to make today. I had a video uploaded, ready to go, thumbnail made, just ready to rock and roll, baby. But I'm giving myself more work. Why? Why am I doing this? Well, because I'm insane. Because it's insane, eccentric, a bit of a schmuck. Okay, I think that's what we can agree on. But there's just so many new articles and news stories. Lie for me, the Jodie era will not die. It will just not fade away. I really. It's over. Can we stop freaking talking about it? I don't think it was Doctor Who. If you liked it, that is great, right? I'm waiting for a way that Russell T Davies can absolutely retcon it out of existence. I think that's what he's going to do, is retcon it out of existence if you want to retcon it out of existence. I don't think they're referencing it in the near future, right? I do not think so. I think it's going to end up being kind of like the Virgin New Adventure range. That was an era. That was an era that is pretty much forgotten now, unfortunately, which is actually, I think, far superior to the Jodie Whittaker era. But it ended up being like shunted off into its own pocket dimension or something along those lines. I think it's going to be like that. Like, so are the Virgin New Adventures canon? Did they happen? Did Big Finish happen? Is the Doctor half human on his mother's side? What happened to the Teletubby Daleks and the Jodie Whittaker era? They all kind of just going to be the same thing, I think. But it won't freaking die. They keep re-examining this corpse, and for what, right? For what? I don't know. It's giving me agita. That's the problem. It's giving me agita. So I thought I'll share it with you. Anyway, a bunch of articles we're going to get to. Don't know how many we're going to get today. But like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are very, very, very good. Sign up my Substack. Sign up to my paid Substack. Yeah, it's even better. You're going to be getting a cool Capaldi short story soon. I've finally worked out the beats for it. It's about a third written. Maybe I'll get it done in the next few days. That's going out my paid one, and I'm going to be putting out I want to be doing more artsy stuff, right? Putting out more stuff on my Substack is my email newsletter, right? I always put out extra things on it as well on the free one, like old Doctor Who magazine articles, Dan Dare from the 80s. Why has that not been reprinted? I would so get that reprint. It's killing me. It's absolutely killing me. Well, it's not killing me. Okay, I have been accused of being hyperbolic at times. That was a time, right? Yeah, it's not killing me. Okay, the reprints of Dan Dare from the 1980s, the lack thereof, is under no circumstances causing me any form of physical malaise whatsoever. I retract the initial statement. Okay, like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are very, very good. I am very grateful for you doing all those things. Yeah, I think we covered everything. Comment. Did I say comment? Comment's good as well. Fine. If you're on Rumble, hit the Rumble button. The other good thing about Substack is you find out where I am. In the inevitable event I get banned, which I thought that would have happened by now, but okay, go figure. I was wrong again. Fine. Let's look at these collection of articles and news stories. So the first thing we're going to look at is something that we're not looking at, right? This is something we're not looking at. This story's been doing the rounds. Yasmin Finn has been talking this up. New Doctor Who companion. I don't think she's a companion. Actor teases very inclusive episode. So we've seen this. I've seen this going around for about 4 or 5 days. Yasmin Finney did an interview, and she's basically said that her role in Doctor Who is going to change the world, right? Yes, she did indeed say that, right? Or they did indeed say that. I'm not sure. Maybe I've been saying she. Is that okay? I mean, she's got a penis, I believe. I don't know. I haven't seen it, okay? She's never waggled it out for me, right? But I thought I was doing right saying she, and I realized it might be they. It's confusing, okay? It's just so confusing. Because it's confusing because nothing makes freaking sense. That's why it's confusing, because there's no freaking logic behind any of this. But anyway, I digress. Did an interview and basically saying the role in Doctor Who that they've got is going to change the world, right? Going to change the world. No, it's not. No, here's the thing. We understand that you people in the media, creating media, wanted to reshape attitudes to match yours in Hollywood, right? Now, those attitudes you have in Hollywood are sick and evil, right? There's a reason that everybody points to you as like saying, "Oh, you are a disgusting, abusive, Me Too, pedophiles." There's any degeneration happens around Hollywood and happens around DC. There's just too much money going on. So I don't want Hollywood to be my moral meter at all, right? And again, the pedophilia thing, it's getting more and more commonplace over the last 5 years. It's certainly where they seem to be going, not intimating Yasmin Finney is in any way a pedo. I mean, she's basically a kid, so, but I'm not intimating that at all. I am saying that, generally speaking, for human beings, a normative state for human beings is to have a non-fluid sexual identity and sexuality. That's just the normative state for humans. If you are not if you do not fit into the normative state for humans, that's groovy, baby. That's fine. You do not have to fit into a normative state for humans, but don't tell me it's not normative. So what's going on with this? I think it's the reason the whole trans, not even debate, the whole trans issue is so loud, right? It's so incredibly loud that I think it's because the people, the proponents for it, who are a bit strange in of themselves, just don't really believe what they're saying, right? I don't think they really believe that men can have babies and women can have penises. Of course they're wrong. Of course, YouTube. Of course, men can have babies and women can have penises. Of course. I'm not going to deny that, unless, Elon Musk buys YouTube as well. But, of course, right? Yeah, absolutely. But that's the attitude they really want to instill, like that it's a normative expression of humanity to be fluid in every way, and it isn't, right? It isn't. There was a report that just came out that people are overwhelming when they're given a choice of a new, one of the new more, for want of a better word, woke programming, woke being platforming of this kind of ideology, right? Or like a problematic TV show that was fake, right? Everyone from the problematic show. Nobody's interested in having their perception of reality altered, right? Everyone's okay with being accommodating. Really, I think most people are okay with being, accommodating and saying if you want to wear a dress and call yourself a girl, fine. Whatever. If you want to call yourself, fine, right? I really draw the line at these underage permanent sexual surgeries. I think that's really, really bad news, right? I think that's bad news because, kids change their mind. That has been known to happen, as anybody knows. So, what is going on? People see this and go, oh, no, oy vey. Well, you're not going oy vey. I would go oy vey. Right, go oy vey, right? It's the new Doctor Who's going to be awful. Maybe it is. Right? Maybe it is. I don't think so. I think this is Yasmin very much wanting to have their worldview validated, right? I think it's a real strong desperation to have their worldview validated, because I think the basic building blocks of a human nature, human drive, goes against their worldview, so they're really screaming to be validated. It's kind of like, do you remember? I mean, you may not remember. I love Survivor, right? I do like Survivor. I watched it from the first season. I think I've watched every season of Survivor. Maybe I probably watched every episode. I do enjoy Survivor. And we had the one year where this guy called Russell Hantz came on. He completely revolutionized the way you play the game. But he introduced the idea of lying. Right? It was really crazy. Like, he would just lie. And he'll do things to mess with people's heads. Like, he'll steal somebody's shoes and throw them away and then just pretend he doesn't know anything, just to mess them up, right? Just to, mess with their heads, right? He had this backstory for himself that he was a fireman, but really he was a millionaire oil baron or something like it. He played the game very well. But the idea of lying, right? Just didn't occur to her. They hear it, they go, oh, okay, yeah, I guess what you're saying is true. Now, Yasmin isn't lying, right? Yasmin very much wants her role to change the world, right? Very strongly believes it will, right? That's not lying, but it's not going to. What do I think Yasmin Finner's role is really going to be like in Rusty Davis Doctor Who? Somebody gave me a great analogy in my comments. So yeah, always a good reason to comment, because I do read your comments. So they're often very, very good. They said they think that Yasmin Finney is going to be somewhat similar to Ruth Malladay in Years and Years. It was Years and Years. So Ruth Malladay, she was also a companion on the Sixth Doctor on audio. She's wheelchair bound, I believe. She's not normally in a wheelchair, but it didn't really work on Big Finish at all, right? Because on Big Finish, it's very hard to paint a three-dimensional human being that also happens to be paraplegic or in a wheelchair, or whatever the designation that they have, right? It's very hard to do that on audio, because the episodes I heard were basically all about her being in a wheelchair, and not much else. However, Years and Years, very different. Years and Years, you had a well-rounded, complete character that happened to be in a wheelchair, that you liked the character, right? And it wasn't that relevant they were in a wheelchair, right? So I think that's basically what we're going to be seeing from Russell Davis's new Doctor Who. I might be wrong, but like when you see noise like this, it's like the guy Russell Hantz from Survivor. It's noise, right? It's like, it might be true. It might be true. It might not. I think it probably won't. I think the tides have really genuinely turned. I think we're in a bit of a social avalanche is going on right now. The acquisition of Twitter by Elon Musk and all the stuff he's doing over there. The what else? The Israeli elections. Finally, after 5 years, we finally beat the stalemate, and we have a government which I, generally speaking, quite like. It looks like in America there's going to be a red, not even bloodbath, not even tsunami, but a red great flood, right? It looks like it's going to be freaking insane, right? So I think, and yeah, we have David Zaslav doing great stuff over at Warner Bros. Please, David, can you reconsider Raised by Wolves season 3 and Westworld season 5? I would really like those. Everything else, fan-freaking-tastic. And I think the hiring of James Gunn on the DC movies is good news. I think it's very, very good news. I think we're in a sea change right now, right? So don't be freaked out when you see these things. They're there to make the people who are crazy, crazy about the representation, feel like the world isn't ending when the world is actually really ending. Okay, that's really what I think is going down. But what else are we can we expect to see with this new Doctor Who? So this article was in Radio Times 2 or 3 days ago. I haven't read it. I was get to it yet. So I haven't read it, as I just said. I haven't read it. Radio Times is a more official source, so maybe they will have more information than me. I believe, again, before reading this, I believe that the Disney Plus deal is very, very significant. I think Disney Plus are desperate for a working franchise, right? They are absolutely, having bought two huge ones and destroyed them, they're like, oh my. The Galactic Star Cruiser, which we all knew would fail, right? We all knew would fail, has absolutely failed. That's the Star Wars Hotel, which is nothing to do with Star Wars at all, from what I can tell. It's kind of like fan fiction set in the Kylo Ren era. And it's just not very good. It's not a big hotel. It has a capacity of like 500 people. It's normal right now. They're not getting 20% capacity. It's really, there's lots of reasons for that. But Disney, generally speaking, they are desperate for a working franchise, right? So you got that going. However, they don't want to give up on their somewhat strange worldview where they want people to be much more fluid, right? They don't want to give up on that as well. And for them, this it's all about self-worth, right? The people at Disney, I think, have very low self-worth because I don't think they're very moral people. So they have to make this like false morality that somehow they're championing the rights of black people Latino people or gay people. They're not. Okay, they're not. Oh my God, they are so not. We have one friend who's really big in the Biden camp. This has not been a good time for them, right? They're in a real meltdown. So my wife plays mahjong, which is in the country, she's away for a few weeks. My wife plays mahjong with them, and the person was there, and for some reason, somebody said they can't stop talking about politics either. She brought up Ron DeSantis and he's about Florida and says, "Well, that's good if you're not black then," or something ridiculous, right? This ridiculous belief that the left wing are somehow not racist. You're hugely racist, right? The Disney worldview is hugely racist, right? Let's do black tokenism and gay tokenism as much as we can, right? Let's just do all that. That you think black people want to see a black Little Mermaid, right? They want to see white people hand-me-downs. It is insanely racist, right? Make organic things from the ground up, right? I really love Disney World. I used to live in Miami. You went when they're like. And that was really it was very clearly that was a mandate behind the Animal Kingdom and the Lion King to have much more organic black representation, and it really worked because it's all set around bloody Africa, so it all kind of worked, and it was fun and it was fantastic. I think things like when it gets forced, it really falls apart. I'm recording this I'm hopefully putting this out on November 6th as well. Sunday, November 6th, the Black Panther movie comes out. I think it's going to tank beyond tank, which is kind of sad because it looks like there are things of it in quality, but it's always the source of the idea, what the motivation is behind here, that of whatever the idea is, that screams out, right? For me anyway, right? So I look at something like Lawrence Fishburne cast as Perry White in the Zack Snyder Superman, and I'm like, well, that's perfect, right? He was just freaking perfect as Perry White, right? Because I think they just picked the right character, had that right authority, right? He had this really strength and authority and this elder authority oozing out of him, right? So Lawrence Fishburne, freaking perfect. Weirdly, Jeffrey Wright should have been freaking perfect for Commissioner Gordon as well, right? No reason that shouldn't work, but it didn't work because, and I may be reading into it, right? But I think the motivation was clearly to say, oh, we got to make black people feel like they're black people too, like they're people too, right? Which is very racist, right? It's very, very racist. It's very, very noticeable, right? For me, it's very noticeable. I guess for people who like it, very not noticeable at all. But I find it very racist. So how does Rusty Davis slot into all of this? I think he's able to produce what Disney want and not be racist about it. Like, I don't think the casting of Ncuti doesn't have the feeling of like tokenism. It has the feeling of, I think he was certainly favoured a non-white Doctor Who, right? I think he felt Doctor Who needed to be male after Jodie Whittaker. I never spoke to him, but that's just my vibe, the vibe I got, right? But I think he very much favoured a non-white Doctor Who. But I think Ncuti came in and knocked it out the park. We'll find out in a year, right? We'll find out a little bit over a year. But I really think he's absolutely bringing it. So anyway, so that's why it works for Disney. It works for Disney because it meets their representation, right? I think it's going to work for us because I think Rusty Davis isn't racist. That's the bottom line, right? I think he's not racist. I don't think his representation has racist roots, but I think when you have other people, often you do, right? Often you do. So that's what I think is it. So what will the Disney Plus deal mean? I think they want to make it into a global brand, kind of like Harry Potter. It will have the tile on there, and I'm hoping you're going to get all of classic and all of modern Doctor Who, everybody broken up into their doctors, along with multiple new shows going on at the same time. And I hope they do a layer of programming. Kind of like YouTube, right? Where you have like commentators, things like that. I mean, wouldn't it be great if they have all of Classic Who, and they do like a watch along of City of Death, for example, and you got like little Russell T Davies' little screen and Mark Gatiss and Shooting Gut, well, whoever, right? And they're all commenting on it. Actually, it sounds like hugely funny. You can have people tweeting it, people live reading tweet. There's a lot of potential, right, of what you can do with this format. That's what I think it's going to be. Now let's see what the Radio Times says is going to be. What does a Disney Plus deal really mean for Doctor Who? The House of Mouse will act as a distribution partner, but how will this impact the BBC and the BBC series we know and love? Well, firstly, it's making the BBC series we know and love survive. There is that, which is pretty good. This is the best of both worlds, Russell Davis said when the news dropped that Disney Plus will be the new home for Doctor Who internationally. With the vision and joy of the BBC and Disney Plus together, we can launch the TARDIS all around the planet, reaching a new generation of fans while keeping our traditional home firmly the BBC in the UK. Now, Russell T Davies is a professional writer, right? He knows how to use words. And he uses words to generate emotional resonances and to have a subtext and subcontext. So even if you don't notice him, he's writing to your subconscious as well as he's writing to your conscious. So I think him using the word traditional, right? And we see traditional a lot. Very important, right? Very important. I think he wants to say it's going to be traditional. All the elements of Doctor Who that are vital, that are going to be there. My guess is actually, I think they're going to go for like a bit more scary. Who was it? Philip Hinchliffe and Robert Holmes type Doctor Who, right? Which I think as well. But I hope so anyway. I don't know if it's going to be something I like. I think it will be. I think Doctor Who always works best when it's aimed young, right? And it might be too young for me. Could well be. I don't know. But I think it's going to be very, very popular, no matter what it is. And I think if it was woke, it was platforming of ideology by tokenism, I think it will probably fail, but I don't think it's going to be that. I do not think it's going to be that. But let's wait and see. The message was meant to excite and reassure. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Disney Plus would, from November 2023, be the platform on which the rest of the world could watch Doctor Who. But it wasn't. But this wasn't a takeover by the Mouse House. Oh no. Doctor Who to UK viewers will still be a BBC programme screened on BBC One. It has been for the past 59 years, soon to be 60. I think that's actually quite important, right? I do think that's important because I think that's a very traditional home for it. Moving it off the BBC, and we always kind of wanted it moved off the BBC, especially during the Wilderness years. We're like, why doesn't Channel 4 make it? Why doesn't BBC 2 make it? Right? I'm kind of glad they didn't, because I think Doctor Who works best as a mass media thing, right? It's got to appeal to the normie, the general audience, with us weirdo fans, on the fringes. Okay. Even Charlotte Moore, the BBC's chief content officer, went out of her way to refer to Doctor Who as this very British show. Yes, and I do think that's very very important. When talking up the deal, joining forces with Disney, and will elevate the show to even greater heights and reach new audiences. And it's an extremely exciting time for fans in the UK and across the world. I think so too, right? I think so too. I understand we've all been very burnt, right? We really have, right? I still think, it just as the Whittaker Chibnall years was the perfect storm to make like the absolute nadir of not just Doctor Who on television. It was awful, right? Just like that was a perfect storm. I think we're in the similar sort of perfect storm for having probably perfect Doctor Who, right? That's what I would like to think. I really hope we're going to get great Doctor Who. Bottom line. But they're very, very keen on keep reiterating that the show is going to remain the show. It's not going to be Marvelized, right? It's not going. Look, the problem with the MCU and with Star Wars, it got very Disneyized, right? Disney is a female brand. For one, people we don't want to talk about gender norms, but Disney is a female brand, and they turn everything. They bought Marvel, they bought Star Wars because they are male brands, and then they turned them into female brands. And the idiotic thinking was, boys watch it, now if we make it for girls, boys and girls will watch it. And it turns out nobody watched it, right? Nobody. The Obi-Wan Kenobi series was really about the Disney Princess Leia, right? It was just dire, right? It stay true to what something is. Honestly, I thought that was the lesson that the early MCU movies, the early Marvel movies had taught the world, right? You always had superhero movies, and generally speaking, they failed over and over and over again until you got to the MCU movies. Oh, you had Batman, you had Superman, but most of them, like Daredevil, all those ones just kind of failed. And why they failed? Because they always the source material's garbage. We're going to make that better, right? Like the Kingpin is now black, right? And instead of having a cigar, he like squeezes a hand thing. It just didn't work, right? There was no respect for the source material, and I thought that was a lesson they learned, right? No, they don't learn any bloody lessons, because more than anything, the people running these things are very wealthy, very overeducated idiots. So they were anyway around the world. This is then a very different proposition to when George Lucas sold Star Wars to Walt Disney in 2012. 10 years. Whew. Okay, who did worse quicker? Disney with Star Wars or Joe Biden with America? Oh, Joe Biden with America. It's been under 2 years, right? Okay. The fear was that was similar to some of the hysterical reactions to last week's Who News, that it would lead to Star Wars' rougher edges as being smoothed out, and that somehow that Disney's parents would end up kidifying Star Wars, not like it's ever been Solaris to begin with. It's not kidifying, and yet you can't even say it, right? You can't even say it. Feminizing, right? Feminizing stuff. That's why The Mandalorian worked so well. It wasn't feminized, and that's why I think that the Book of Boba Fett did fail. It was feminized, and the only male, the only real male character was a very dodgy looking Boba Fett, right? Very non-threatening, old looking Boba Fett, and it's all about Ming Ra or whatever. I can't remember bloody name. But we're worried it's going to be feminized, right? And not go to its essence of what it is, which is kind of fair, especially when you got Yasmin Finney going, "Oh, we're going to change the world because I'm trans." Yeah, no, shh. Yes, Yasmin, quiet down, darling. And of course, that never happened. Well, it did. Under Disney's auspices, we've had Rogue One. That was like the last vaguely watchable thing, and it wasn't that good a movie. It's just a good movie in comparison to the rest of the Star Wars movies, right? It was nearly a good movie. But the whole I don't think the script was completely ready. Right, I don't think the characters were built up enough. I don't think the final it was all just Constantinaed too quickly. It probably would have worked better as like a 5-hour TV miniseries. Yeah, but it was done in the wrong time, right? But that was the last watchable thing. I mean, Rise of Skywalker was garbage. The Last Jedi was garbage. Galaxy's Edge failing horribly. It's not this kidifying. It's feminizing. It's feminizing and also platforming this weird ideology. I have a friend who's watching Andor with me, which is boring as hell. Andor is they have one plot point per episode. It's essentially they're an hour-long episodes with about 10 minutes of plot, and literally the other 15 minutes could be cut out. They're normally the things you see on DVDs or Blu-rays, the deleted scenes. That nothing does anything for the show. But even my friend will say, why does everything, and he's a normie, why does everything have gay people in it, have lesbians in it? Yeah, look, you can't relentlessly fill the world fill your fictional worlds with lesbians, and then be somewhat surprised when people go, what's with all the lesbians? I'm like, oh, what do you mean? It's not kid. I'm like, oh, shut up, it is, right? So let's be clear, Disney doesn't own Doctor Who. Instead, it's a deal between Disney and BBC and Disney branded television, one that will provide a platform for overseas, and that should in all likelihood bring in a lot of dough for the program. That's what I think. Right, there's certainly a lot more hands on the show now, one way or another, with the BBC production company Bad Wolf, in which Sony has a stake, but I think a majority stake, and Disney all having a seat at the same table. What it worked with Spider-Man: No Way Home, right? That's why I'm very optimistic when you have these things like converge. It worked, right? It did actually work. Disney having a seat at the table, says the Guardian's Martin Bellum. I think Martin Bellum's a bit of an arsehole. I can't remember, right? I think he might be a bit of I've taken a bit of his articles before, where I think that, if he's not never contact any of these people. Please don't do that. Where I think the show will benefit most is from the global uniform publicity drive and the heft of Disney behind it. Yes. And again, I can't wait to see what's going to be on that little tub. This, for me, I have to have Disney Plus anyway, because my wife and daughter are like, no, I need Grey's Anatomy. I need, what was that on the show? Like Castle. Whatever crap they watch. Okay, they like all that ABC crap. Okay. It should be simply the simultaneous launch windows for the show, and we see marketing done in a more coherent way than perhaps has been done when it was the BBC and the production team were dealing with multiple broadcast partners. Well, that's very true. I think the main benefit of the Disney deal, without wanting to sound too crass, is the increase in budget, adds Heats magazine TV editor Boyd Hilton. How's that crass? Okay, the reason that you're doing this is to make money, right? That's people treat simple capitalism like it's evil. No, it's not. Simple capitalism has done more good for the world than socialism in terms of giving more people a higher quality of living. Does that mean capitalism is the greatest thing ever? No. Capitalism unrestrained is destructive as well. Yeah, absolutely. But it's not like deeply evil as these weird denizens keep wanting to tell you, right? It's okay that it makes money. It's okay. Doctor Who has always been a show for big ideas with vast scope, but as brilliantly as recent showrunners and producers have coped with budgetary limitations, the more money they have, the less their resources will be visibly stretched. Well, that's actually not a good idea, because I think stretching resources makes for better entertainment. So expect more crowd scenes populated by huge gatherings of extras. I guess they're going to get one of those swanky, Mandalorian studios. Although I really hope not. The other thing I didn't like about the Obi-Wan Kenobi series was it looked really cheap, because it really relied on that 360 studio thing, right? And you could tell there was an area they could walk in and nothing else, right? And they use the same thing in Loki when they're there's a scene where Tom Hiddleston and girl Loki, whoever she is running, and they're clearly running through this small area, right? But because Tom Hiddleston is such a good actor, he's able to sell it, right? But you gotta be that level of actor to be able to sell it, and whoever played Reva just wasn't, right? I'm sorry. These guys cost money. Doctor Who is the ultimate concept for a sci-fi show. I think we're getting more programming than just a bigger budget. Now it can proudly enter the global streaming space where it undoubtedly deserves to be. I do agree. Before Rusty Davis signed on for his second stint as showrunner, he mused about what he might do with the program should he ever be in charge again. Now, he was in the middle of making this deal at the time, I think, right? There should be a Doctor Who channel right now. Yes, that's what we're going to get. You look at all those Disney announcements and all those new Star Wars and Marvel shows, you think we should be announcing the Nissa Adventures, the Return of Donna Noble, or you should have the 10th and 11th Doctors together in a 10-part series. Oh, God, Russell, yes! Yes! It's looking likely that if Doctor Who is to expand on-screen universe with a sweeter spin-off, come on, this Revengeance. They're not getting this Revengeance. Disney Plus will be the international home for them too. It's basically a choice of Disney Plus. You've got a choice of Disney Plus, Apple, or Netflix for like global reach, right? That's basically it, man. I hate this thing with the Mickey Mouse on the O of the Doctor Who. Yeah, hopefully we're not going to see anything like that. Well, what was that up to? It will be the international home too. There's in the way the streamer is the go-to platform for everything Star Wars and Marvel. I never watch anything Star Wars or Marvel on Disney Plus. Like I have my my physical collection. Actually, it's on hard drives. But what are the fears? This has been neutered in some way. Like it's never. It's like, well, really. It's like it's never happened. What the? In some way. Have you seen The Last Jedi? No, of course you haven't, because nobody has. They fall asleep in it. It's fucking awful. Right? It's, and you know, honestly, for this company that bangs on about racism constantly, as Disney does, they couldn't have been more racist than John Boyega now, could they? I mean, I think that's very indicative. They're insanely racist. Because it has about family-friendly branding, or even the Americanized. In the days after the announcement, memes were cropping up everywhere. Most were it must be said, most in jest, it must be said, such as the ones that depicted Mickey Mouse head silhouette on the new Doctor Who logo. Yes, yeah. Hilton though thinks, who's Hilton? Is this the guy Hilton? I don't know who Hilton is. Hilton though thinks fans have little to worry about by this commercial body. Who the hell's Hilton? I don't know. Yeah, one second. Let me do search. Find Hilton. Oh, okay, fine. It was the guy who from Heat Magazine's TV editor. Okay. As for fears about how the show might be affected, I too worry about that. I too might worry about this if not for the key factor that the genius writer and alternate Whovian Russell D. Davies is back as showrunner. Yes, I completely agree with him. He would never compromise the integrity of the show and his vision for its future. In fact, Disney Plus deal is clearly going to help him execute his ideas. It's all part of his master, sorry for the pun, plan. I agree completely. I agree absolutely completely. So, didn't get any new information though, did it? Basically, it's everything I've said so far. But yeah, as I said, I agree completely. Now, why does Doctor Who need this incredible global makeover? Right? Why is it so vital for it to get that? Well, we find out over here. Again, we're talking about bloody Jodie Whittaker. Just stop, leave me alone, Jodie. Oh, you were awful. Okay, I keep saying this, but it always reminds me of this. There's a movie called Bullets Over Broadway, where essentially a 1930s gangster finances a play, but on the condition that his girlfriend gets a role, and she's absolutely awful. There's a mobster that looks after her, who ends up co-writing most of the play, and ends up killing the mobster's girlfriend because she's so awful, right? So the scene where they kill, because he feels very protective of the script, right? So he takes to the place where he kills people. He said, "Yeah, just go out on the pier there. The mobster boyfriend's just waiting for you. Just go out there." And then he goes up there and he pulls out his gun and about to shoot and says, I just want you to know you're a horrible actress. Bam! That's what that's the little clip that goes through my head. I have lots of little clips that go through my head. Okay, do you do this too? Okay, I don't know how I always time this perfectly. When I need to pee, and I hope you waited long enough to hear this. When I need to pee, I do often replay the scene in Star Trek 2 when Enterprise meets Reliant, and Reliant's like disabled Enterprise, and Enterprise worked out a way of hacking into Reliant, right? That's not the scene. Where Enterprise meets Reliant, right? And they don't know Khan's on board. And they build up, and then that's as they're raising Shield's captain. Like they can't communicate all that bit, right? And then you got Khan go fire, and he fires at the Enterprise. I time it like so I pee at the fire moment. I really do that. Actually, really, I'm over 50, and I do that. Gotta laugh, mate. Gotta laugh. Anyway, I digress. Let's read this. The BBC has made Chris Chibnall's final script for Doctor Who, The Power of the Doctor, as a free download for anybody who wants one. They're not fucking selling it, are they? That was buying. Oh, please give me that incoherent babble in text form. Yeah. No, yeah, really? Yeah, no, you're not selling it, mate. The BBC makes scripted dramas, comedies, both TV and radio, available as an educational resource. It's stamped on top. Don't you do this. For students. I actually heard his new job is teaching people how to be showrunners, right? I actually heard that's his actual job. Really? Ow. But okay. It's like, again, Joe Biden, he's impeached and leaves the presidency, and he starts a online course, How to Be President. Like, no. I mean, I guess, you could Biden and Boris Johnson. Just show you there's no party affiliation. They're all wankers, okay? They could all they're all awful, right? I was actually quite, what's the word, positive about Jeremy Corbyn until he started opening his mouth, right? Because he just seemed normal. But he turned out to be a whole different type of awful, right? Much more older type of awful. The BBC makes scripts, blah, blah, blah. It's part of their remit to educate and inform. Yes, don't do this. It's what you're informing. There is an entire page of it at Doctor Who, featuring interviews with Chris Chibnall, former showrunners like Rusty Davies, Stephen Moffat, and Toby Whithouse, who should have been the bloody showrunner, offering advice for fledgling writers, as well as a library of scripts from the show. Chibnall has said that he planned and wrote The Power of Doctor way in advance, right? He said that he planned the 13th Doctor ending a long time ago, possibly before Flux. You can download the script from there. I'm not going to do that. This is a chance to see how the sausage is made. Why? Why would you do that to yourself? Right? Why? So the sausage is made at Doctor Who, starting at the script, which is where it all starts. It's clearly an early draft of the script. What? That's the one they filmed. There are little changes and cuts made to the cuts with little changes and cuts made to the final cut with lines and some order, but it's otherwise The Power of the Doctor as broadcast. David Tennant was not originally in Doctor Who: The Power of the Doctor. Yes, this is what we all said. This is what we all predicted. Chris Chibnall did indeed kill Doctor Who. David Tennant's Doctor does not appear in the final scene of the script. It ends with a to be continued. Now, the rumor I heard is she was supposed to fall off the cliff and turn into regenerate into the timeless child, but I didn't really believe that rumor. Chibnall didn't know if Doctor Who would ever be renewed after he and Whittaker left the show, destroyed the show. Same thing. He certainly didn't know that Rusty Davies would be taking over, so David Tennant would show up in lieu of Ncuti Gatwa, who might be busy filming another season of Sex Education for Netflix before he could take on over the show. Yeah, no, fucking idiot. Okay, the reason that you need David Tennant came back, I mean, other than happenstance, right? But the reason is that they destroyed the show, right? And we had to remind the viewing public why they like Doctor Who, right? And it worked. Bottom line, it worked. So here's the original script. The Doctor walks out of the TARDIS at the top of Durdle Door, which he didn't tell them. They're filming the regeneration. They're all pissed off. The ocean ahead of her. The sun is starting to rise. Close on the Doctor. She looks out to sea, breathes it in. The blossomiest blossom. She sits cross-legged. I don't think she did that. Right then, Doctor Whoever I'm about to be. Tag Yorick. The only good line he wrote. I did the entire 5 years he was doing it. The only good line he wrote. Face wrinkles as she realizes, like, oh, Oh, why? No, never write face wrinkles for Jodie Whittaker. That's a very bad idea. That's the only sad thing. I want to know what happens next. I bet it's going to be brilliant. Yeah, no, it is going to be brilliant, but if Rossley Davis hadn't come along, you would have killed Doctor Who, right? Oh, I don't know where I am. Am I happy they didn't, or am I sad? I mean, if they did kill her, I would have felt validated. Because people will never admit they're wrong, will they? They'll go, well, no, Doctor Who just had its time. No. She burst triumphantly into orange flame. This doctor should do nothing triumphantly. Swelling up her face, she looks up the sky, surrendering to it, letting it in. Her whole body is on regenerative fire. Wide, the single body sat across in front of the TARDIS on the top of Turtle Door. Consumed with regeneration, we begin to pull away and see the scene regenerating, the regenerating figure against the rising sun. We keep moving further and further out as a new day dawns. To be continued. Yes! 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 We know you fucked it up that much. Bloody idiot. Whittaker's final scene of regeneration was shot months before Davis came on board, and David Tennant agreed to come back. She literally never met whoever was replacing her. Yes, they destroyed Doctor Who, you fucking morons. Yes, you're validating us in every way, right? You're doing for us what Yasmin Finney wants the rest of the world to do for them. For her. I don't know what the right pronoun is. Okay, but yeah, yes, that's what you are validating us. Whittaker's final scene, her regeneration was shot, must be blah, blah, blah. She's literally never met who was replacing her as on set no one. Davis and Moffat established a tradition where the new showrunner would take over the script post-regeneration after the predecessor officially steps away from the job, along with the previous Doctor. Moffat stepped in with Matt Smith's first lines, the 10th Doctor and Tennant finish. What a great finish! Oh, I love Matt Smith's regeneration. I love the best regeneration story. I love the 11th hour. Chibnall stepped in when Jodie Whittaker's first line. Yeah, we didn't know how bad it was going to be after Peter Capaldi. Thus, Tennant's first line were written by Davis and shot months after Whittaker left the set. I'm glad they didn't have them have a sitting down. Both were shot. With the TARDIS on a green screen, with no need for the cast and crew to travel the cliff location. For decades, writers and makers of Doctor Who have always been transparent about how the show was made, long before news outlets made it routine to interview cast and makers of TV shows about how the show is made. Transparency of Doctor Who and the BBC has encouraged many kids to become scientists, doctors, mathematicians, and yes, screenwriters, FX specialists, production members, directors. The only show that it was this inspiration was Star Trek. The BBC writes room was invaluable, blah, blah, blah. No Hollywood movie studio or production company is this open to blah, blah, blah. It's an invaluable service that is creating the future for filmmakers. And again, and validating sad old Doctor Who fans like myself, saying Christian did indeed kill Doctor Who, right? Did indeed kill Doctor Who, because what he did was unwatchable bollocks. Unwatchable bollocks, I think is a fair description of the era. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin. I guess unwatchable bollocks, that could be the title of my autobiography. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring the little bell, baby. Ring that little bell so you are notified when new videos drop.